Vice-Chancellor, Senate has resolved to confer the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, upon Hunter Davies.
Hunter Davies, OBE, is a prolific author, journalist, and broadcaster, and wrote the only authorized biography of the highly successful global band, the Beatles. Hunter was appointed Officer of the Order of the British Empire in the 2014 Queen's Birthday Honours for Services to Literature. Born in 1936 in Johnstone, Scotland, Hunter moved to Carlisle in the north of England when he was 11. He grew up in the post-war era on a council estate until he said goodbye and then said hello, hello, hello to Durham in 1954. Hunter was the first in his family to attend university. He was an active member of University College, completing an undergraduate degree in economic history as well as a teaching diploma. Hunter began his writing career at Durham on the student newspaper, the Palatinate. He joined the paper in his third year, initially as advertising manager and then reporter and features editor. In the spring term of 1957, he was made editor of the Palatinate. His time there was a deeply formative experience which awakened a passion for writing and journalism and led to his future choice of career. Upon leaving university in 1958, Hunter worked as a journalist, writing for a number of publications, including Punch, New Statesman, The Guardian, and The Sunday Times. At the Times, he was chief features writer and later editor of the magazine. For 3 years, he presented Bookshelf on BBC Radio 4. Coming from a working-class background, Hunter is passionate about comprehensive schools and providing opportunities to those from less privileged backgrounds. While working at the Sunday Times in the 1970s, he spent a year observing life at Crichton School in North London, while it navigated integration of children from other parts of the city. 3 Sunday Times articles and the book, The Crichton Report, resulted from his passionate and in-depth journalism. There are places he'll remember in all his life, and this is certainly one of them. During his career, Hunter has published almost 100 books, writing everything from children's books to books about collections, travel, walking, and politics. He first raised the idea of a biography of the Beatles with Paul McCartney. For 18 months, Hunter had unparalleled access to the 4 members of the Beatles, John, Paul, Ringo, and George, and their families. The only authorized biography, The Beatles, was published in 1968. It was, of course, an immediate bestseller and remains the definitive Beatles treasure. Among other highlights in his esteemed career, Hunter wrote the novel Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush in 1965, which was then made into a film. And he penned The Glory Game, a behind-the-scenes portrait of the Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He has also ghostwritten for several celebrities, including footballers Wayne Rooney and Paul Gascoigne. Not one to forget the youngest readers out there, Hunter wrote the Flossie Tea Cake, Aussie, and Snotty Bumstead series for children. Durham University was featured with fond recollections in Hunter's 2017 memoir, The Co-op's Got Bananas. The story begins with his arrival as a first-generation student from Carlisle, feeling dazed and confused as a first-generation student. Hunter shares memories of taking part in the Durham Regatta, college dances, and studying for his history degree. He writes, "Almost from the beginning, I was bored rigid or had no idea what was going on. I was not the academic type. Studious or not, in the autumn of 1957, Hunter was elected senior man of Castle. Here comes the sun. Reflecting on his adjustment to Durham University from a working-class family, he recalls, and I quote, "People of my generation often have a feeling of alienation from their roots as a result of going to university. It was foreign enough to them when they first arrived, till they acclimatized, but it remained totally alien to them at home." A supporter of comprehensive education and providing opportunities for people from less privileged backgrounds, Hunter's literary achievements are inspiring and clearly aligned with the university's ethos of embracing difference, valuing others, and cultivating inclusion. You might say he's a dreamer, but he's not the only one. Vice-Chancellor, I present Hunter Davies, OBE, to receive the degree Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Hunter Davies, by the authority of Durham University, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, VC. Thank you, Wendy. You did good research. Alpha minus C me. I've been so impressed by the younger generation. It was absolutely amazing watching them. Not one fell over, despite some very high stiletto heels and some clumpy platform heels as well. And that was just the boys. I was last here in 1957 at Congregation when I got my degree, and my mother came through from Carlisle, and she sat with my best friend's parents in the body of the cathedral. And it's strange today because there was cheering and clapping. They never allowed that in the old days. Anyway, my best friend's father turned to my mother and said, "That was the proudest moment of my life." And my mother turned to him to say the same thing, and he was sound asleep. I absolutely adored Durham. And Wendy mentioned Palatinate. Two amazing things happened to me at Durham. One was being senior man of Castle, which nobody outside Durham has ever heard of, and it's meaningless. And my wife used to giggle at the term. My wife was at Oxford and hated Oxford, and she got a letter once offering her an honorary fellowship of a college, and it said, "You'll have free room for life and high table, free meals with your partner," and she tore it up. She thought it stunted her growth. I adored every minute of my time at Durham. And it was because of Durham I became a journalist. I'd become, in my second year, after spending my time drinking and chasing girls, my roommate was advertising manager of Palatinate. He was giving it up. I said, "I'll take it on. I've done nothing. It will look good on my CV. I've done something apart from mess around." And I became advertising manager. He went around the town getting the shops to do advertising. And I went into Hatfield one day where the then editor of Palatinate, was living, and I took my little adverts in, and he and the assistant editor were in a panic because there was a hole in the page. The next issue was going to bed, and something had fallen down. And I heard myself, don't know why I said it, I said, "I'll fill your hole." And I'd never written a word in my life. As I say, I thought I'd become a teacher. And I went to my room in Hallstairs, and I wrote up 800 words called "A Life in the Day of a Boat Club Hearty." And it was written in appalling Just William spelling. Got up, was sick out of window, SIC, came down to the hall and had breakfast, was sick on the table, and I did a whole column pretending to be a boat club hearty. And the next week I did a theology dom, then I did a science student, and I did that for a whole term, and then I became editor of Palatinate. 15 years later, when I became editor of the Sunday Times colour magazine, thanks to the editor of the whole paper, who was a Durham graduate, who went to the same college as me and edited Palatinate 8 years before me, Harry Evans, I began a column at the end of the colour magazine called A Life in the Day. And this column is still going to this day. This is 1972. And I pinched the title from the column I'd written in Palatinate all those years ago. And I pitched the framework, but it was true, whereas the one in Palatinate was made up. And I'm so thrilled to be here, thanks to Wendy and the VC. And I only wish my dear wife was here to mock me getting a Doctorate of Literature. She would just giggle. Anyway, many thanks, and I'm greatly honoured by the award. Thank you.